Hey guys, it is NCS Fan 001 here for another one of those weekly trophy list updates. Today's date is Monday, September the 4th of 2023. So this will have covered the week of, I believe, August 28th through September 3rd of 2023. So happy Labor Day for all of y'all that are here in the US. And I'm off work today, which is very nice. I actually get to record this on the Monday itself instead of the Sunday before. Anyway, this week was reasonably productive overall. I got one platinum trophy and made a little bit of other progress, but I wasn't really playing a whole lot this week. It's another one of those weeks where I was just pretty tired a lot of the time and just didn't really feel as much like playing. Mixed in with the fact that it is now the start of college football season, which is almost like a religious holiday for those of us in the southeastern United States that goes on until early December. So if I'm sometimes a little more AFK or not streaming as often on the weekends, and I can mention that again toward the end of the video, that's why, because it's football season. Anyway, when it comes to trophy progress made this week, I obtained one platinum trophy here in Killzone Liberation. This is the PS5 version of the game, and I now have every single Killzone Platinum with the exception of Killzone 3 multiplayer. So looking back at the franchise as a whole, Killzone HD was for a long time the easiest Platinum, and for a while it was the only obtainable one still. That is on the PS3. It's like a 3 out of 10. It's not difficult at all because you could use cheats in it. It was kind of time consuming though because you had to beat the game 4 times, once as each character, so that did add in quite a bit of extra time to the Platinum. Then you had Killzone 2, which is of course the most difficult of all the Killzones to get the Platinum Trophy in. The multiplayer was pretty brutal because you had to rank in the top 1% at the end of a week. And it was completely doable a couple years before the server shut down. You could do it fairly easily with just like probably 20 to 25 hours of grinding in the multiplayer or just boosting with one other person, which you would need to do anyway to get all the ribbons and stuff in it. So it was fairly easy because of that at the time. But then when the server shutdowns were announced, everyone went crazy with it and just started... You know, there were so many people rushing to try to get it done, and there were so many tactics trying to be employed to be able to get it done that it just got absolutely insane, I remember. Like, people were having to create tons and tons of extra accounts and all that kind of stuff. It was just a massive, massive experience then that thankfully I didn't have to take part in because I got the Platinum back in 2014. Then there was Killzone 3, which is a much easier Platinum trophy. Overall, it had a little bit of multiplayer, but you could knock out all the multiplayer in like a day, so it wasn't a problem. The campaign was a lot easier as well, because Killzone 2 had a very brutal, hardest difficulty. Killzone 3's was pretty reasonable for the most part. Then after that, you got Killzone 3 multiplayer, which is of course the only one that I never got to do because, well, I would have probably gone for it. I've talked about this before. I would have gone for it had I had a little bit more time to play it, because the game was known to have a lot of issues with stat tracking. Now, most of the trophies were easy because they were mostly just taken directly from the original Killzone 3, so most of them were very, very easy. The problem was there were a few trophies related to score and kill totals, and they didn't track properly, and I probably had 2 to 3 weeks to where I could have attempted it, but it just wasn't really worth the risk because there was a very real chance of stats not tracking correctly and then just having it incomplete on my profile with like 2 trophies left probably. So that's what happened with that. Then, of course, there was Killzone Shadowfall, which shut down a little over a year ago at this point, unfortunately. So Killzone Shadowfall had a medium difficulty Platinum that was just super, super time-consuming because of all the multiplayer bot zone stuff you had to do. And it had a ton of DLC that added in a lot more time to the Platinum, or just time to the 100%, as well as a more difficult, hardest mode that you had to play through the game on. It was basically no checkpoints for each mission. So that was that. And then there was Killzone Shadowfall Intercept Standalone, which you could auto-pop every trophy in. That's what I did, which was very nice. And yeah, that is it now for Killzone, aside from Killzone Liberation. So with Killzone Liberation, the Platinum Trophy is the fastest and easiest in the Killzone franchise. It can be done in about 6 to 7 hours. And it's about a 3 out of 10. Now, I did struggle with the first, 8 or 9 missions this time around, but that's only because I didn't realize I was playing on the medium difficulty instead of the easy difficulty. So it took me way longer to get through those first 9 missions than it did on the PS4 version of the game, but then once I switched it over to easy mode, it was no problem whatsoever. So as long as you're playing on easy, there are not very many difficult parts of the game. There are a couple of boss fights, like the boss fight in Chapter 3.4 that's kind of annoying to deal with, especially if you don't know what to do, because I didn't know what to do the first time I fought him on PS4. Basically, you have to use that obscure R1, L1 targeting system to be able to hit certain parts of the mech unit. And then there's also a boss fight in 4.3 that's a little bit tricky. I haven't played Chapter 5 yet because it doesn't have any trophies tied to it. I might still play it for the purpose of the trophy guide I'm doing for the game on PSN Profiles, but that would be the only reason to play it. And it also unlocks more challenges for you, but you get a bunch of trophies, 16 of your trophies just for beating the main story, the first 4 chapters. Then you have to complete 24 of the 30 challenge games with a bronze medal or better, but you're only going to have access to 24 challenge games unless you finish all of Chapter 5 as well. And you have to get gold medals in 10 of them. You can get gold medals in most of the missions from the first 2 chapters, and then a few more after that pretty easily, so it's not really much of a problem. And then we get to our miscellaneous trophies. Equipping a weapon with 3 abilities is easy once you've gotten like 100 points from the challenge games, which you'll get easily while going for those gold medals. Then collect 44 of the approximately 100 money suitcases in the game to get both of these trophies. Then destroy a Hellguest soldier with a missile launcher and with an M3 revolver. Those are both pretty easy. Then just run one over. That's easy. You can do it in chapter, I think it's 1.4. Then melee attack you can start doing in like chapter 1.2. Spider Mine, this one may come naturally. If not, there are a few other places you can do it. It's still pretty easy. Enemy tank on foot is best done in chapter 1.4. Then revive a buddy. This is an unmissable story trophy at the beginning of chapter 1.2. Then defeat 10 enemies with frag grenades is very easy. It'll probably come naturally because grenades are pretty strong. 50 kills while in a vehicle. You are going to have to farm this one. There's no way you're going to get it naturally while playing through those 4 chapters in challenge games. So this one you will have to farm out a little bit. And 100 enemies on foot is unmissable. You'll get it during chapter 2. So yeah, that is it for Killzone Liberation. That is another Killzone and basically every Killzone game done. I am very proud of myself to have been able to finish almost all of them. And maybe someday they will find some way to bring back something like Killzone 3 multiplayer and, Homefront and all those other games that have 1 or 2 multiplayer trophies that I never knocked out back in the day. That would be kind of nice. Sony, if you just want to do that for whatever reason, that would be great. The other game I made progress on is Destroy All Humans 2 Reprobed single player. This is the PS4 version of the game, and it is the next full trophy series I'm doing after Killzone Liberation, which is now done. So this is the PS4 version of Destroy All Humans 2 Reprobed. It runs fine, knocking on my wooden table here. It seems to run fine. I haven't run into any major issues with the game so far, but I'm also only, a few hours into it, like 6.5 hours into it, and there's still a good bit of the game to go, so hopefully it stays that way. I will say, though, one weird thing that I found is that the map is slightly different in the PS4 version. Like, certain things are there in the PS4 version, or no, certain things are there in the PS5 version that either like aren't there or aren't as detailed in the PS4 version, which has made finding the collectibles much more difficult, because I got stuck on even the easy base city collectibles for way too long, just because of the video guide I was following that worked perfectly for the PS5 didn't really work as well for the PS4 because some of the buildings and stuff are different and some of the street designs and everything just look a little bit different. So I would recommend being a little bit careful with the collectibles on the PS4 version because they're kind of in slightly different places, I feel like, or the world just looks very slightly different at times. So what I'm going to be doing is I am going to, unless you guys have like a major outcry about it in the comments here, I am going to find all the collectibles in Albion, Takashima, and Tunguska, and probably about half of the collectibles on Solaris, all pretty much off camera or off recording, and just find them when I can just follow a guide whenever it's easier for me. That would be the easiest thing to do, just then I don't have to waste your guys' time hunting around for collectibles. It's really boring on video and all. So that's probably what I'm going to do. That way, I would leave the last few on Solaris so that we could unlock all the trophies, but that's what I'm currently planning on doing unless there's a major outcry for it in the comments. So you have to upgrade Crypto and the Saucer at the Poxmart. Those are both very easy. You can do those pretty early on. Use a Furitech reactor. You'll get a bunch of these just by naturally playing the story, and you just have to basically fully upgrade one weapon. Then you have to revisit any mission in the Holopox deck. That's going to probably come naturally while going for one of the later trophies. This one is basically unmissable. It's one of the first trophies you're going to get in the game. Just mash the button quickly while you're doing one of those actions. This is a collectible type. There's a human hive on every map. I found the one in Bay City, and I might have found the one in Albion by accident. Then 3 perfectly timed anal probes in a row. This weapon just works in a really weird way in this game. I think that there's something sort of up with it. It's kind of finicky. So I ended up getting this one naturally, but do be a little bit careful with it. It doesn't always seem to work exactly right. This one I got by complete accident using the dislocator early in the game, so it's one of the first trophies I got. Change Crypto's look, that's pretty self-explanatory. Look through the Furonagami collection in the menu, that's pretty self-explanatory. This one you can start doing once you get to Albion. You can just outrun the Blisk Spores. It's a little bit finicky as well, but it's nothing too hard. This is the first trophy you'll get in the game immediately upon getting through the intro cutscene. Then these are all story related for going to each area of the game. Then all of these trophies through here are story related. This is a story related trophy. This is a side mission related trophy. This is a story related trophy. This is a side mission related trophy. And this is a story trophy for beating the final boss. Then you have to demolish a public toilet on each map. That's technically another collectible type. Then you have this... I just realized something. Is this game possibly missing... Okay, no, it's not. For a second, I thought this game was actually missing a trophy. This is your first Arc Voodoo Cult mission trophy. This is for finishing all the Arc Voodoo Cult missions. This is a side mission specific trophy in Bay City. Then you have a trophy specific to each map. These are for Bay City and Albion respectively. They're both very easy. This one is in Takashima. You have to have some of the upgrades for the skate to be able to do this one from what I remember. So this is the one I was wondering if it was there or not. This is one for doing the boss fight, the optional boss fight, I guess you could call it, for side missions in Takashima. You will need to make sure you have died at least once to be able to do this one. This is on Solaris. There isn't one for Tunguska, surprisingly. There's a skate trophy for each area where you have to go from one area to the other without stopping while on the skateboard. But none of those trophies are difficult as long as you know where to go. You might want to have a video pulled up to be able to know exactly what path you have to take. Complete all the odd jobs. There are... I can't remember how many there are. Maybe like 20 or something. There's over 20 in the game. And that's pretty self-explanatory. Just finish those side missions along with the Arc Voodoo Cult missions. The alien artifacts, there are 50 of those, 10 per area. The posters, there are 25 of those, 5 per area. The songs, I want to say there's about 50 of them, but they have kind of a different spread of exactly where you get them. There are 15 Gene Blender upgrades. They are changed from the ones in the original Destroy All Humans 2 on the PS2. There are only 15 of them, but they're all a lot more complicated, and for some reason you don't make progress toward them unless you're specifically tracking that particular gene blend, which is really stupid. And then finally, you have to complete all optional mission objectives. Now, as far as I'm aware, you only had to complete the ones in the main story, at least on the PS5 version, so I assume that the PS4 version is the same way. I've been completing all of them regardless because most of them are very easy, but there are a few challenging ones toward the end of the story and in a few of the side missions, so do keep that in mind, but there's nothing missable in the game because everything is fully replayable, so you don't have to worry. So yeah, Destroy All Humans 2 is coming along. We're at 31%, but 20 of the 45 total trophies. And so far, I've basically finished the story of Bay City and Albion. I still have some side missions left to do in both areas. And, of course, a few more Arc Voodoo Cult missions. And then, of course, we still have 3 more full areas to go through. So this is going to be at least like a 6-stream kind of game. It might not take too much longer than that just because this time around I'm planning to do all the collectibles off screen just to make everyone's lives a little bit easier. So that is all the trophy progress for this week, so let's go ahead and sync it on up. This update's actually going to be a little shorter than I expected. Level 837, 4%, 26,505 total trophies, 739 platinums, 4,830 golds, 7,080 silvers, 13,856 bronzes. So, plans for the upcoming week, and with it, plans for September. I definitely have quite a few plans. So first and foremost, the Ty the Tasmanian Tiger video. I've actually been spending a lot of time editing that this past week, and it's basically done at this point. All that's left now is to add in the background music, do a final check on it, and then upload it. It will probably be up sometime in the middle to late part of this week. At latest, it'll be up on Sunday. That would be the latest it would go up. It's definitely shorter than like the South Park video or the Fallout 3 video. It's only about 15 and a half minutes or something, so it's definitely a lot shorter because the game does get a little bit repetitive, but it was an easy enough video to make, so I hope that that is enjoyable to people out there. Other than that, though, the next one I'll be working on is, of course, the Far Cry 6 video. That's definitely going to be a longer one. That's going to take a while to put together. Not as long, hopefully, as Fallout 3, but it's definitely going to take a while to put together. It'll be covering the Platinum Trophy and the DLCs. Well, not the DLCs entirely, just the two really awful DLCs that gave me so much rage when I was streaming them. You guys know the ones I'm talking about if you were there for those streams. The one stream I've had that was demonetized for not copyright reasons. So that's going to be the next one after that, then Modern Warfare 2, then Killzone Liberation, and then after that will be this Destroy All Humans 2 reprobed on PS4. But otherwise, when it comes to this week, the plans for games I want to play, I did not get the chance to start COD Classic this past week. I will hopefully be able to start that this coming week. Definitely not looking forward to that, though. Otherwise, I'll be working on Destroy All Humans 2 Reprobed on future streams. And I went ahead and pulled a couple of my random old games from PS3 and PS4 that I've had on my list for forever that I just want to go ahead and knock out and move them up into September so I can hopefully work on those. I want to do Master Reboot on the PS3 is a really bizarre game. And then The Raven for PS4, which is basically just like a puzzle type of game. It's not quite Telltale level, but it's only like a 5-hour game from what I've seen. And I think Bad Driver has a good video guide for it, or there might even be a text guide. So those are the couple of games that I want to play for September. And then October and beyond, GTA 5, Shadow of the Colossus, Outer Worlds, and anything else that I currently have laying around. But we will have to see exactly what I end up having time for because, like I said, it's now the start of college football season, which means that a lot of my Saturdays are going to be taken up with football. Even away game days, I might be watching them and all. So football season means usually fewer streams during the time period, especially on the weekends. But it only goes until really early December is pretty much when the end of the main season is, and then there's bowl games and stuff, but those are a lot less important to watch overall. So yeah, next few months will definitely be a little bit slower on streams, but that should give me at least a little bit of time to get videos and stuff edited together. I have several videos from when me and Lizard Guy hung out that I definitely want to edit and upload. I have a couple of Sekiro Shadows Die Twice videos, a little bit of random like Pikmin. Which Pikmin was it? I think Pikmin 2 and Outlast with him. Siren Blood Curse. That was a lot of fun to record. I really want to upload that one because it was just an hour and a half of just disaster, I think, from what I remember. Yeah, that should be fun, though. And otherwise, it's just, rest of the schedule should be fairly normal during the main part of the week. Just, trophy updates on Mondays, a Platinum Trophy video at least once a week, and then just other random videos as I feel they should go up. Yeah, and I also just want to quickly mention the PlayStation Plus price increase is really dumb. I know that Sony isn't going to change their minds from hearing one of my videos, but it's really dumb and really doesn't make a lot of sense to me that you're upping it by a good like $20 to $25 a year, and we're getting absolutely nothing extra for it. And then they have the nerve to give us a month on PS Plus where the main headlining game is Saints Row 2022, which they then announced like 2 days later that Volition is shutting down. So real good job there, guys. Real great job. Also, I ended up getting an Oculus Quest 2. That's the one other thing I want to mention. And if anyone has any game suggestions for me, please let me know. The only one I know for a fact that I'm getting is, of course, Resident Evil 4 VR and probably Super Hot VR. I'll probably pick that one up as well. But otherwise, I'm open to any suggestions that you guys have. So yeah, that is going to be it for this video, guys. Please go ahead and leave me a like. If you made it all the way to the end of the video and you aren't subscribed, please go ahead and do so and hit that notification bell and leave me a comment. Let me know what you guys have been working on, as well as any games that you would suggest for the Oculus Quest 2. Like I said, this coming week schedule should be mostly normal except for the next few months. There probably won't be a lot of Saturday streams, and some Friday streams may not happen either if we have like an early morning game or something. So yeah, that's going to be it for this update. So thank you guys for watching. Wish me luck as I hopefully get into Call of Duty Classic this coming week. And I'll see y'all back here sometime soon for some more content.